Good evening, Namaste, and Kira. I, Richard Kumar, welcome you all on Apna Television. And on Apna Talk 36 tonight, I've got Mr. and Mrs. Rahul Doshi, who are the directors of the Rainbow Corner Group. Mr. and Mrs. Rahul Doshi, I welcome you on Apna Television.
Hello, Richard. Thank you. And Kia ora, bula, sat sri akal, and a big hello to all the listeners and viewers of Apna Television.
Bhavini, I welcome you on Apna Television as well.
Kia ora. Hello, Richard. Hello, viewers of Apna TV. Thank you so much for watching us, and thank you, Apna Television, for hosting this for us. Thank you.
And now, Mr. Rahul, first of all, I want to ask if you can briefly tell me just where you're from originally and how long you've been living in New Zealand and where did you start this business from?
We've been in New Zealand for close to 15 years now. We're from India, Mumbai in particular. And starting this business, the credit is Bhavini's here 100%. She is the brainchild and the lifeline of the Rainbow Corner group of companies. She is the teacher between the two of us. She also was instrumental in starting our very first center in a small town on the east coast of New Zealand in Gisborne. And haven't looked back after that, Richard.
Now, as I was discussing to you yesterday, you told me that the first center was opened in Gisborne, am I right?
So
how many kids did you have at that school at that time?
The first one was my 10-year-old now.
Mm-hmm.
So he was our very first enrollment. Mm-hmm. And that was a small center with 35 children.
And since launching in Gisborne, and then like now you've got maybe I think 12, 13 branches or around New Zealand. Can you tell me which areas have you got your schools in?
So bulk of our centers are in Auckland, but we have operations spread across Invercargill, Tauranga, Hamilton, and more branches coming up across the country as well.
So how many kids do you cater for at your childcare?
So if I take the whole group operations, including PAWS in-home childcare, which is the largest in-home childcare provider in the country, all up we cater to close to 4,000 children at the moment.
Now, Bhavini, I mean, when you started this business, like obviously you started as a very small business, I think you were a teacher at one of the schools first, if I'm not wrong.
Correct.
Now, when you started it, did you ever thought that this can grow in such a big, way? And today you got so many schools around New Zealand and you're still growing.
No, Richard. I started as a teenage girl teaching children back in India, and then that's where my first journey started. New Zealand was only an add-on. Then after from India, when I was in UK, that's where also I was teaching. So personally, my view is teaching is a very noble profession. No, does not matter whether you teach in early childhood, whether you're a primary teacher or you're a secondary teacher or you're one university teacher. Teaching is a very noble profession, and for me, being a teacher, it's a great pleasure. And from there, my journey has evolved to manager and to a center owner. So I've been to all different sectors of my profession, and I'm very proud that I've got a huge passion and still want to just give it back to my community and my children.
And now, how difficult it is between young kids and adults when you teach?
As I said, teaching is a noble profession. We just have to have patience when you're teaching and dealing with children, or whether it is families. We are in a very emotional business where emotions are always very high. We try to do everything, the expectations from teachers, from parents, and from children especially. We have to make sure that we lead by heart. And that's what is the driving force for us.
Now, Mr. Rahul, as you told me that you were totally in a different field, and once your wife started the first preschool, then you slowly got into it, and now you are one of the directors of many schools around New Zealand. How proud do you feel yourself?
I think the biggest take for me is to support my wife in her dream, in what she wanted to achieve for the children. Her passion was so strong that it drew me out from my sea career. So I was a sea captain before in my past life, and I was briefly involved with the New Zealand Maritime School as well as head of school there in tertiary education. But as we saw, the passion in the house was far too driving a force for us to involve and immerse ourselves into this, what we want to do. Incidentally, when you say this, Richard, one saying comes to my mind, and that's from Mahatma Gandhi, is if you want to find yourself, you have to immerse yourself into it. So that's what we did. So we wanted to find ourselves. So we immersed ourselves into the early childhood sector in particular, because it's quite rewarding, very rewarding.
So from the time you started the first one, the second one, the third one, then you just carried on, and now you've got about 12, 13 schools, and you're intending to even open many more schools.
It's about 8
Now,
more
are you
coming up.
achieving your goals as you wanted?
The drive for us is very important. It's the passion of giving back. It's about making that significant contribution in a child's life is what drives us wholeheartedly. So 12, 13, 15, 20 centers is only a number. It's the quality outcomes that we focus on for the children, and that's the driving force. As long as we keep doing that, it's great.
So what is the main driving point behind you and your wife, which motivates to open these schools and get more into these kids and open various types of different societies within?
It's the holistic development of the child that comes above everything else. So what we have done is we have created a whole ecosystem of different things that a child needs in their daily lives. Let's say, for example, quality education. So a childcare center or a home-based environment, either or, depending on the preference of the parent, a child can thrive in a quality environment. We believe also that healthy food is important. So within our centers, we have our own catering services as well. So there's freshly prepared, unprocessed food supplied to all our centers on an everyday basis.
Yes, I mean, if I want to touch base on that, you told me yesterday when I went and visited one of your schools. It's a very huge school, I mean, childcare center. And I've seen that
One
you've
of the
got a
largest
separate
in
kitchen as
country.
well. So you're the largest in New Zealand?
Yes, we are.
Okay. Now in there, I've seen that you've got a nice, like a lunch bar type setup. You do your own cooking, stuff like that, and the kids come in there, and there's just tables and chairs. Can you give me a bit more explanation on that?
Sure. The thing is, the catering services, what we have been observing is in this day and age, a lot of young children have a lot of allergies, purely because of the processed food that they eat. And at times it's possible that parents are busy. We know what it takes to bring kids up. We have two ourselves. So we thought the biggest thing we could do is take that little pressure off a parent's life, especially the mom in the morning, to take that pressure off her to say, it's okay. We will look after the little one when they come to us. So the food is prepared on site every day by a professional chef. So he does all of that prep in the morning. The kids are fed the morning tea, the lunch, the afternoon tea. And you're eliminating processed food from their lives.
Now, can I ask you who pays for the cost for the food?
It's part of the fees. So there's nothing extra that we charge
So
for.
it's part of the fees.
Correct.
Okay. Now, Bhavini, I mean, how difficult is it for you? Like obviously got so many tutors, in different schools, maybe about 10 to 10, 12, 13, whatever the numbers may be. How difficult is it for you to deal with them, case to case?
See, as I said, we believe in people, and we want to work, educate, and empower our community. And it starts with us and our team as a staff, our core staff. And we do work very closely with our core staff, and we believe in working together. So with that philosophy and with that driving force, we have policy and procedure as a guidelines. So we want to support each and every staff member, whether it is a teacher, whether it is a supervisor, whether it is a manager or an operation manager. They can reach us to any time through communication. It can be email, it can be even only a text message or a phone call. So we are always there to guide them, coach them, mentor them.
Now, during COVID-19, when the childcare was closed, so what were you doing and how were you dealing with your kids?
During COVID-19, we actually were supporting government and essential care worker to place kids with babysitters, nannies or educators, whoever was available and was happy to work during that time. We would like to say a big thank you to government to work with us and to trust us on what we can deliver, and we did our best because it was a challenging times for everybody, and they were unprecedented times during those families. There were fears around the community. There were people not sure what to do, and we navigated during those rough times to the best of possibilities we could. And I think we've done a great job, thanks to everybody who contributed, right from the management to the educators to nannies and to the parents. Everybody, we did a great job, and big thank you to government as well.
Now, can I ask, like, have you seen any difference or in numbers of kids enrolling with you? I mean, compared to pre-COVID-19?
I would say yes. After COVID-19, when we opened, when we went into level one, we did understand that parents were coming to us saying that either some of them have lost their job or they don't know. There's just so much uncertainties in the community at the moment, where parents don't know whether they will have jobs or not. To support the community, what we did a management meeting, and we decided that okay, let's put it out as 30 free hours to the families, so that if there is one income or if there is no income, it can still support the families with care and education. And most important, it will support a child to come out and just socialize with other children, to learn and to be away from the devices. I think at the moment, laptops and devices are kids are hooked onto that so much, those digital media, and it's not a positive influence for our children. We spend hours and hours together on that devices, and we just want to do a small initiative where we can bring the kids out and socialize with other kids. They just need to be going and playing with other children. That's what we want to do.
Now, Mr. Rahul, I mean, obviously, like there might have been a number of cases where the parents were laid off, and obviously they got no job, no income coming in, and they would have said, okay, now I can't afford to have my kids going to my childcare, you know. So in that case, was there any support from the government?
Well, the government has agreed on certain funding allocations, which is quite helpful without doubt. But on the same token, philanthropy, as you know, Richard, is a big aspect of our business as well. So giving back to the community, I think, is a huge force that drives us. So what we did was, for 3 months, we said all children from 0 to 5 within all our centers, we wouldn't charge any fees. So that was the human face we did put forward, because we understand things can be tough. And 3 months is a good time frame for them to get back on their feet, figure out what other options are available. And even if they had a job, I think it's a reassurance that I can keep a few eggs aside come something untoward comes as well in their lives.
Now, you also mentioned, if I'm not wrong, that sometimes you have families come in from overseas, and they've got no idea what to do, and they've got no income, and they're freshly landed in New Zealand. And do you guys support those families looking after their kids as well?
A big chunk, again, is, as I said, philanthropy is a big chunk of our ethos in how we operate the business. 10% of our capacity, no matter how big or small the center is, we contribute towards a not-for-profit cause. So it could be someone who's new in the country, someone who's struggling because of some circumstances, and it has to come from a credible source. So the application comes on our desk, and it's one of us who signs it off, saying, yep, fine, deserving family. So the staff don't know as to what the conditions are behind. For them, it's the child, it's the well-being that is the most important thing.
Now, like opening schools in various parts of New Zealand, obviously it is easy to open, but then it's very difficult to operate them, especially when you live in Auckland. You cannot be at the site or at the childcare center 24/7. How do you deal with those people, I mean, your tutors and kids?
Can I share my secret recipe with
Sure.
you, Richard? Right. Well, an organization is born with a thought, and that's how we started it. It was born with a thought, but it is nurtured by the team. They feed this little baby every day, in and out. It's a commitment of my team across the regions as well. That brings in the quality that we need and consistency that we need as well. In very fact that you said before, that the government trusted us as well in looking after. So we were the first provider in the country to be approached that was pause in home childcare to look after the essential workers during lockdown. So that's the trust and the positivity that we have built with the brand over the years to get into something that was uncharted territories.
Now, on your card, I've seen that you got a number of organizations part of that Rainbow Corner group. Can you give me a bit more detail about Pause, what For Life does, what Pause does?
Sure. Pause in-home childcare is, as I said, the largest in-home childcare provider in New Zealand. Give or take 2,500 children that we look after only under Pause at the moment. The other arm is also a tertiary training arm, which is under Pause Education and Training. So as we had the foresight in this space as well, so we deliver a level 4 in early childhood, and our distance learning module has been in operation for the past 7-8 years now. So we thought of this coming up long back. So come COVID again, all our students were pretty much studying when they were doing their lessons, and they all passed as well. So on an average, we have about 440 students that come through us on a yearly basis.
So how many students have you got in total at the moment?
But 440 is our intake every year.
140 intake every year, right? Okay.
And we're a Cat 1 provider in New Zealand as well, under the tertiary arm. That's the gold standard. That's the best that you can get.
Well, Mr. Rahul and Bhavini, we got a lot to talk about. We still got another second half of the event to go. Now we'll just take a small break. So viewers, we'll just take a small break, and we shall catch up with you in just a few seconds. Thank you.
Thank you.
Welcome back, viewers, to Apna Talk 36. As you know that on Apna Talk 36, I'm talking to Mr. Rahul Doshi and Bhavini Doshi, and they're from the Rainbow Corner Group, and which includes a lot of various different types of companies within it. Now, Rahul, can you tell me that since Rainbow is operated in New Zealand, after launching all the schools around here, you have recently launched your school in India as well. Can you give me a brief description of what the operations is doing in India?
So Indian operations is more towards tertiary teaching at the moment. That's what we're focusing on. So with all this experience that we gained during COVID, there is a need of getting some good quality training back in India as well. So experience, what we're doing is sharing with NZTE, New Zealand Trade and Enterprise, and working with about 14 schools in New Zealand, in India, to deliver some pandemic training for them, which is going to be a huge help for them. And followed by that, we would also do some mental health training as well for those schools as a pilot. So that's the biggest focus for us in India.
Now, which area are you focusing on, Bombay, Delhi?
This one is in Gujarat. So there's about a chain of 14 schools in Gujarat at the moment.
What made you go to Gujarat especially rather than starting in Bombay or Delhi?
Part of this has to do with my spirituality as well. So our Gurudev is in Gujarat, and his ashram is in Gujarat as well. And one leads to the other, so good deed followed another one. And we were approached by the school saying if we were happy to help them.
And now you told me that you're intending to open some schools in Fiji as well, and you were just on the verge of opening, and COVID-19 came in, and then everything was put on hold. So you think now things is getting back to normal, your intention is still the same, and you'll be opening schools in Fiji as well?
But that's a very exciting project for us as well. So we're very fortunate again to the Fijian government for supporting that initiative and granting us the exemption as the first overseas investor into education in Fiji. Looking forward to it. As you said, we were quite ready to launch, and just waiting for things to turn back to a bit more normal.
So who'll be taking more responsibilities in Fiji? It's going to be yourself or Bhavini?
You can't have this asking me on national television. Yeah, I could get into trouble. No, it's a joint effort. So we're a team. So we know exactly what we do with the business.
Obviously, one of them has to spend more time there in
Yes,
Fiji.
sure. Well, no, I think it'll be a great holiday as well. So I'm pretty sure we won't leave each other out when we go there. But as we said, we have a team of people that looks after operations.
Now, which part of Fiji is going to be your first school? Is going to be
Suva.
in Suva?
So,
So
and then
are
we'll
you
look at
moving
Nandi
anywhere else
after that.
apart from Suva?
We'll look at Nandi after that.
Nandi, okay. So, so far, how are things? Like, is it looking very, very positive that you'll be opening schools in Fiji?
Yes. I think the need again is quite there. Some good quality education is going to be beneficial to the children.
And you're definitely, obviously, getting support from the Fiji Education Department as well?
Yes. They've been honestly very, very supportive of the whole concept of taking a good education model.
Oh, that's great. I wish you best
Thank you.
for the venture. No? Now, also, Mr. Doshi, that recently you launched a organization called More for Kids Foundation Trust. Can you tell me a bit more about that foundation, what you do, and what is the aspects of that business?
Well, More for Kids Foundation Trust has been in existence for over 5 years now, but we've been quietly simmering away doing what we do for the children on a day-to-day basis. But I think the time was there now to actually get out in the community and do some work that is benefiting a much bigger audience outside our organization as well. And the sports camp that we just are conducting at the moment, which Bhavini is spearheading, and you've seen
Yes,
the
I was going
results.
to ask Bhavini, like I attended the camp yesterday, and it was great to see so many kids. That there must have been about 25, 30, 40 kids there, and they're all enjoying like cricket, soccer. So do you take care of like different activities at that school?
Yeah, Bhavini can throw more light on that.
Yeah, so our first initiative when we started with a thought of running a sports camp, I can say a big thank you to Milan Choksi as well, who is a coach and who's supported in this thought and idea, and also would like to thank Arjun and the team who are the volunteers supporting us to run the whole camp successfully. So when we started with the thought, we wanted to do something for the kids, so we all got together and we started this program where we would like to keep the kids away from the digital devices and make it very, very subsidized for families. And with that thought, we approached Newland Cricket Club. We told them that this was our initiative, and they were very supportive, and they said, oh, that's a very good idea. And with the help of Cricket Club, Jeet Rawal, Ejaz Patel, and Milan Choksi, we could do a wonderful job. Parents did trusted us when we put the leaflet out. The parents were like very happy. They said, oh, this is going to be the best thing for our children. When we actually spoke to children, there were mixed concept where some of the kids said we want to play cricket, and some of them were like we want to play soccer. So we wanted to make it fun for kids. So we had indoor games and outdoor games planned for children, and that's how we run the whole camp.
Now, when I was there at the camp yesterday, I saw Jeet coming from, who's an All Black cap, and another one was Azaz Patel, and he's also another All Black caps. Now, I think the kids were really, really happy. I saw them, trying to get autographs and stuff like that. So, what difference or what impact has it given to the organization or to your foundation?
I think it has given us the credibility as well that we mean well. We want to do well for the children. And people, Jeet and Ejaz were absolutely wonderful there, and we've got Jimmy Neecham coming again on the Friday for the prize giving as well. It only endorses the values that we hold for the charity arm is benefiting the children. And seeing the buzz, it was amazing.
Yeah, it was really good. When I went home, then I just had a look at all the videos, all the photos which I had taken. So it was quite amazing to see. I think by having those two All Black caps, I think it sort of motivates the kids a bit more.
Correct.
They love it and they want to be part of them. No?
Absolutely, and we were also lucky to have Martin Guptill coming in the morning. So he came to practice, and it was such a nice inspiration for Martin Guptill to come and practice during when we were there. So all the kids were so excited, and it was very nice of Martin Guptill to take some photos just to allow us to give us some autograph, and it was just a wonderful experience for all of
Now,
us.
if I'm not wrong, there's more and more All Blacks. Black caps are coming in later on to join the kids at the camp. Am I right?
Yes, so the idea is we want to make it fun sports. We want to involve not just kids, but we want to involve our grandparents. We want to involve our parents, girls and women, just to come and enjoy as a physical fitness and well-being, where there is fun sports involved. So we are not playing on a competitive level, but we would like to encourage participation, and well-being of the kids is what is to our heart.
You think in the near future you're gonna get anyone from the All Whites to come in and be part of this foundation as well?
Oh, look, we have some very strong ties with New Zealand Soccer Foundation as well. They have been hugely supportive. If you would have seen at a childcare centres now as well, we're the only childcare provider now providing a soccer field for under
Heading back
fives.
in there.
And yes, we have some very good strong ties, as I said, with New Zealand Soccer Foundation. So they are trying to promote sport as soccer for the under fives as well. So yeah, watch the space.
Now, at your site, at your childcare in Botany, if I'm not wrong, that you get a big soccer area as well for the kids to play soccer. Is it the only childcare with a soccer play field in there?
It is the only one. So all our new centres that are coming up as well will have a soccer field and a track and an athlete's track as well. Yes.
Is there any other sort of sports you're taking, like apart from soccer? Can it be like cricket field or hockey field or something like that as well?
It's about 350 square meters of just plain turf, which is done professionally. So sport can be inculcated in any shape or form, as long as it benefits the children.
Now, what is your future plans for the foundation, for the More for Kids Foundation?
One of the drives with this cricket camp was also to support Srimad Rajchandra Mission Love and Care as well, which is where my spirituality again inclines towards. So we're supporting them in their absolute crusade of supporting the migrant workers in India. 25 million people on the streets every day, not too worried about COVID, but worried about hunger is quite a touching thing for us. So the proceeds from this camp is actually going back to the mission to support those migrant workers there. That's the biggest drive for us at the moment. And once we are back to some normalcy, start focusing on different causes.
Now, Bhavini, what's your future plans as far as you're concerned, being a school teacher, being a tutor, and being a director of a company which runs so many schools around New Zealand? What are your plans for future?
So, see, from the charity perspective, More for Kids, sports is only one of the initiative we are doing. There are another initiative we are doing in terms of empowering and educating parents, teachers, and professionals who are out there, because we do understand that looking after children can be very demanding, and it is where we want to empower and support to our community so we can excel, because our generation has a responsibility to make sure the next generation is supported, survived, and thrived.
Well, I think it's a very great thing that you've achieved so much in a very short period of time, and I wish you all the best for your future endeavors as well. Now, as we're coming to the end of the segment, what are the special messages you want to give to our viewers who are watching us on Apna television, if they want to join your school or childcare, if they want their child to be part of your school, what can and how can they get in touch with you?
Well, it'll be a privilege to look after a child any day for us. That's the biggest drive force. They can contact us through our website, www.rainbowcorner.co.nz, or contact the local centre managers, pay us a visit anytime. But also I would like to add one more thing, Richard, is again appeal to the other organisations around us as well. I think the philosophy here is it takes a whole village to raise a child. We keep doing our bit, but when we combine forces as different organizations, I think that's when the magic happens. So we're very much open to working with migrants, refugees, and all those people as well. We're settling into a new country is a challenge. So we're more than happy to extend our support and our love as well. And what we call as rangatanga is again, if I've spelled it correctly again, which means in Maori is relationship. So it's about sharing an aroha and relationship with different organizations where we can give back to our communities.
Bhavini, what's your final message to the viewers before we finish off the segment?
As I said, improving well-being of the kids is at our heart. We want to make New Zealand the best place for upbringing of the kids. We want each and every child to feel safe no matter where they are. And that is what our vision and mission is. Thank you.
Well, Bhavini and Rahul, I want to really thank you very much for coming to Apna Television. And I'm pretty sure whatever you do now, Apna Television is going to be part of it now from now on.
Pleasure.
And we are more than happy to work within the organization and work together and bring this sort of like foundation for kids and stuff like that and promote them and put more awareness to the public. So thank you very much once again for coming, and I really appreciate it. And definitely we'll definitely catch up another time in the studio.
Okay.
Thank you, Richard.
Thank you
Thank
so
you,
much.
everyone.
Thank you, viewers.
Well, thank you very much, viewers. This was Rahul and Bhavini Doshi from Rainbow Corner Group, and I hope they have given you some good tips on a child care center, what they have been doing and what their intentions are to do in the future for kids. So I hope you have enjoyed it. But before we go, I must tell you that we're going to leave you some videos and photographs of Rainbow Corner before we finish off. Thank you very much once again for watching us, and I shall catch up with you next week at 6:30. Thank you.
When I bring Cortez to Rainbow Corner, she loves the interaction with other children, and the carers here are just so lovely and friendly.
It's made Caleb a much better handling baby. They've looked after me perfectly, the way we want them to.
You're always greeted with a smile, and I get hugs when I leave. I like to know that my grandchildren are feeling safe, and I feel that here. I just know that they're well looked after, and it's the best thing we could have done.